get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. We'll go ahead and take roll.
Meany,
Here.
Funderburg. Here. Hanley.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Lopez.
Here.
Zimmers.
Here.
That is 6 present.
President's report tonight. I want to start out by saying, even though he isn't here this evening, he is a member of our family. Our most deepest sympathies to Jim Leach and his family for the tragedy that they've gone through in the last week and a half. And again, our deepest sympathy. Like I said, Jim's here all the time for board meetings. He's like part of the education family, so our deepest sympathies.
Also, I can just go ahead and say this at this time. Please keep in your thoughts the family at Sandburg. We lost a longtime secretary, Jane Michelson, this week. Long fight with cancer, and she had served our district for many years. So also, our deepest sympathy go to her family and the Sandburg family as well.
Public comments on published agenda items will occur during the public comments portion of the meeting. If you're interested in addressing the board, fill out the required public participation at board meetings form and submit it to Mrs. Hankins, who is in the front row. President's report tonight. I would like to talk about, once again, a community agency stepping up and helping us as a school district. We're starting to learn if we ask for help, people will do it. Mr. Lopez and I attended a function last week. It was supposed to have been the governor and First Lady Mrs. Rauner show up. Governor Rauner was touring the tornado site, so Mrs. Rauner did show up, but it was the Compass program that has been reported. I think the SJR wrote on it last week. It's from the Family Service Center, who run programs throughout the school year at 8 of our elementary schools, and it's a mentoring program that they do at these sites, and they have run a summer school program which we visited last week. Was that Friday?
Friday.
On Friday. And like I said, the First Lady was there. She was very gracious, very glad to be there. Talked to the students, gave them all a piece of fruit. They'd already been served their lunch. She was a little late getting there, but she was able to interact with the students. So once again, we'd like to thank agencies in town who do step up and assist the school district. I'm just astounded that, again, all we have to do is ask people, and if they have the expertise, they're willing to step up and help us with things. So I'd really like to salute the Family Service Center for undertaking this. Okay, at this time we'll have other board salutes. Any board members have any salutes? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to discussion items. 4.1, old business. Any board members have any old business they would like to bring up? This could be a very short meeting tonight. I'm liking this.
Good for you.
Okay, 4.2, new business. Do any board members have any new business that they would like to bring up or discuss? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to presentations to the board.
Yes, we have Mrs. Ann Levry here from the Matthew Project, which is a program that supports students who are facing homelessness, and also specifically at Hazel Dell Elementary School this year. So come on up. I know you outreach to many other students as well, but we'll have you join the podium. And thank you for being here to share your work in our community.
Thank you. What a privilege to be able to come back and share with you all the great things that we're doing. It's really exciting at the Matthew Project. Just to refresh your memory, we are a not-for-profit organization. We are 100% volunteer. Nobody gets paid. We're all there because we want to. We all are there. We all work full-time. A lot of people sacrificing their time and their money to be a part of our organization, and we're so thankful for that. So just to bring you up to speed, we serve only homeless children who have been identified as homeless through the district. We work very closely with Larry McVeigh and Darla Haley, and I don't know what they make, but they probably deserve a raise. They work so darn hard for you all. They're wonderful people, 24/7, really making sure that these families are taken care of, and it's an honor to be able to work closely with them. The children are identified through the district and then referred to us. So last year we actually had Lake Town We were supposed to start with Hazel Dell, but we had a little glitch, so we switched over quickly. So we had 12 fabulous students who come in once a week. They're brought in after school every single Thursday. And each child has the same mentor every single week. So they've got that little bit of consistency in their life that they really don't typically have throughout the week, with the exception of school. So they come in. The very first thing we do is eat dinner. We have great community partnerships. One of our partnerships is with SHG Sisters, and they have a wonderful chef. It's good to be a nun in Springfield. They have their own fabulous chef. And Chef Nina prepares a 4 to 5 course hot meal for really about 40 people. It takes about 40 volunteers a night to run the Matthew Project. So we all sit down, we eat family style. The children clean up. There's always leftovers for them to take home to their families. We clean up, and then we get right into our academic time, which is usually 45 minutes to an hour of one-on-one, intense, getting homework done, getting projects done. If there's a class project, we are connecting with the teachers on a weekly basis, hopefully. And so we know exactly what they need, because our little homeless kiddos aren't going to have poster board. They're not going to be able to go spend $40 at Hobby Lobby. So we make sure we have all of that stuff there. We get the homework done. We are working on whatever the teacher wants us to work on. One of our goals is for the children to be better students in their classroom. We want to be a blessing to these teachers that work so hard every day. We don't want to add another burden onto their plate, because they have lots of responsibilities. So we want to be a help to them. So we do our academics, and then we have some other partners that we deal with. Every week we have either SIU School of Medicine. The doctors will come in and teach health and wellness, and that's always really very important to our children, because, for instance, usually the first lesson they teach is food safety, because our little kiddos are hoarding their meatballs after they get them at the Matthew Project, because typically that's the only dinner they get all week is from us. They take their little meatballs in this little Ziploc baggie, and then they put them in their backpack and try to eat them 3 or 4 days later. So the doctors come in and teach a multitude of topics, but one thing they teach, usually right off the bat, is food safety. So the little kids know that they can't eat those meatballs. Then we also partner with 12 local banks here in town. And we do a wonderful, I say we, I take all the credit, but really I have nothing to do with it. We do a wonderful financial literacy course, and which sounds crazy that we're trying to teach the little 5 and 6-year-olds financial literacy, but they get it. It's absolutely amazing. We have different bankers rotate in and out and teach a curriculum that is based solely on our children. It was developed especially for our Springfield kids, homeless children. And we also run the financial literacy course with our reward wall. And Superintendent Gill was there to witness. She's been over a couple times to witness how great the reward wall is, and how they tie it, the bankers tie it into the financial literacy program. So we have this huge bank of shelves with literally hundreds of items. So when people ask me, what can we donate? Here's what you can donate. And we only take brand new items with tags, and this is why. We have every school supply imaginable: backpacks, pencils, crayons, rulers, clothing items, underwear, socks, shirts, jeans, coats, winter boots, all the way up. We don't do any toys. It's just what we consider emergency items. And the children earn what we call Matthew money all week at school. We give the teachers free rein to issue those Matthew dollars as often as possible. We want them to issue that money. Some of the guidelines we give the teachers are attendance. Each child gets $1 every day for just being at school, because attendance, as you know, is a big problem with this group of people. So they'll have $5 to spend on the reward wall if they just go to school every single day. They get $1 for goal grades, which are set by the teacher. A D might be a goal grade for one of our kiddos who are always way behind the other students academically. They get behavior incentives. They'll get $1 for being good if behavior is an issue. What we call above and beyonds. That's usually one of our favorites. If a child is showing a character-related thing above and beyond what's expected, if they help somebody or they're being quiet when everybody else is being crazy, the teacher can issue that money. So our kids come to the Matthew Project earning anywhere from, if they're at school all week, $5 to $20. And then they're buying at the end of the night. They have a little savings account book. The bankers go over exactly how they earned it, how much they have. They know what their financial goals are. Even our 5-year-olds have financial goals at the Matthew Project. It might be a $100 bike that's on the reward wall, a bike and a brand new lock and a brand new helmet. But all of our kids have financial goals that they're trying to meet. And so they're saving their money and they're buying a little bit and saving a little bit. And we have 5- and 6-year-olds who are buying their own underwear, who are buying their own socks and their own clothes. And this year, we don't give anything for free except the dinner. The children earn every single thing that they take home. This year, we had several of our moms who had babies. We had 2 different sets of twins being born during the Matthew Project school year. And so we were able to put diapers up there, and we were able to put formula and baby food. And these little itty bitty kids are using their money that they earned at home and buying diapers for the family and buying things for their mom and their little brothers and sisters, and feeling great about it, feeling very accomplished and worthy, and feeling like, they've worked hard for this. And that's the whole point behind the reward wall. So they can get the emergency items they need, but earn them, just like you and I do, just like everybody else does. I brought this little bag in because this is typically what our little kiddos bring in as a book bag. We start off the year, every little child in the Matthew Project this year and last year, we start them off right. Everybody gets a brand new backpack. Everybody gets every single school supply that's on that list. We spend about $2,500 on school supplies for our children. So everybody starts off on a great start. But, when people are transitioning every 7 days, every 9 days, and mom is waking these little kiddos up at 3 in the morning and they're in a crisis situation and they have to get out, this is what they end up with. Everything is left behind. So that's why we have the backpacks and the school supplies all year long on the reward wall, because those kids always have money in their bank and they come to school, they come to the Matthew Project, with one of these, and we know we don't ask questions. We just say, hey, do you need a book bag? Yeah, and so we get them a book bag, and they pay for it themselves with their own money. A couple times, we are always asking for Target gift cards, and people say, well, why do you need, why can't people just buy stuff? Well, here's a perfect example. We use the Target cards for emergency situations. Last year, we had a little boy who told his in-school mentor. You see, each child has an in-school mentor that goes in once a week and makes an appointment with the teacher and pulls them out and works on whatever the teacher wants them to work on. So they get an hour of that or 45 minutes of that, and then an additional time on Thursday nights, the 2.5 hours at the Matthew Project. So we had a little boy on a Wednesday tell his mentor that they had moved and they were sleeping in a really scary old house in the basement, dirt floor, no bedding. So we were able to go by and put on the reward wall sleeping bags and pillows and items that we've never had to put on the reward wall before, because we've never had to worry about that. So that's why we always ask for things like Target cards and items like that for emergencies. I want to tell you just a couple quick stories about our academic progress. We had a little boy, Zach, come in. Zachary came in with kindergarten, 5 years old. He knew no letters. He knew no sounds. He knew no numbers. He had no idea what the number 1 was, what it looked like, what it sounded. He had no clue. Didn't even know what a dinosaur was when we were reading to him. Way behind. He was probably more like a 2.5 or a 3-year-old in academic standards. So we started sending mentors in to the school with him and working with him. And he had a great mentor last year and a really good one this year, and they were able to work on the weekends with him. Within 30 days, that child was reading. He could identify up to 200. He could point out, if I said, point to 197, he could point it out. Within 30 days, he was doing this. Today, he's in 2nd grade, and we were fortunate enough to have him again this year, so we've had him 2 years in a row. He's reading at a 4th grade level, and he's getting ready to start 2nd grade. And so it's working. Academically, it's working. We're making huge progress with our kiddos. We had a little girl who was in second grade, and we just thought, wow, she's really bright. Let's see if we can work with the school and get her tested. We got her tested. We got her on the waiting list for IELTS school, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed. So we're really working hard academically. That's what we are. We're an academic program. We want these children to succeed. That's the goal. We are also a really big support system for our moms. I'm embarrassed to say that the last time I was here and somebody asked me about that, I kind of said, well, we're child focused and, we probably won't have a lot to do with the moms, but I'll tell you what, that changed the first time I met the moms because I was able to realize that those moms aren't any different than me. They love their kiddos just as much as I love mine, and you all love yours. And we've become close with our moms. We are in constant contact with our mothers. One example, last year, we had all the moms over. We invited all the moms over at our very last Matthew Project, and we asked everybody to go around and say what their favorite thing was about that year. And it really insignificant, but we always give the kids a bag of bagels from Panera when they go home Thursday nights. And any other snacks that we have, any other prepackaged snacks that we can send home to the families. And I have a wonderful young lady that comes in every single Thursday and hand decorates each and every bag and personalizes it and spends a lot of time doing it. But it's just a white paper bag that you throw in the garbage, right? So this mom raised her hand and she said, my favorite thing, I hope I don't start crying when I tell you this because it always chokes me up, but she said, my favorite thing were those goodie bags. She said, I saved every single one of them. She was living in a shelter all year. And she said, I put them in a drawer, and when I would have a bad day, I would pull those out, and I would be reminded that somebody loves my child, and somebody cares about where we are in life right now. And that's who we are. We do care about these moms. These moms are struggling. They're trying. All of our moms are working. They don't want to be in the situation that they're in. And so we're there to support them as best we can, to stay connected with them. Next year, I'm really excited. We're starting a Matthew Project for moms. And we're working with our 12 banks here in town, and we're going to do transportation. All child care is provided. We're going to get all of our moms together. We're going to show them how to shop on a budget, how to cook on a budget, give them some very basic financial literacy skills that they need to know, that they don't know, that nobody's taken the time to tell them. And so we're really excited about that when we meet our new moms coming in, and we want to be a blessing to them and to serve the children. That's our goal. The last thing I want to tell you about, which is really exciting, we had written a grant for our kiddos this past year with the YMCA to attend the YMCA camp. And the YMCA camp was $1,500 per child. It was a lot of money. It was $18,000. In addition to that, we put money in for breakfast, lunch, dinner, weekend take-home food for the kids. So it was a very large grant, the largest grant I've ever put in for. And unfortunately, we didn't get it. But the day that we were notified that we did not get it, one of the directors at the YMCA and one of our bankers, Dee Dee Murphy, said, you know what, can we just call a few friends and, to see maybe we can get one or two of the kids sponsored. And I said, oh yeah, ye of little faith. I said, oh yeah, go ahead. Not really thinking anything would come of it. Within 5 days, we had $19,000. So every one of our Matthew Project kids have been in the YMCA day camp Monday through Friday, the entire summer. We have breakfast taken care of, lunch taken care of, weekend food. I had somebody from St. Louis write a check for $3,000 for weekend food for these kids to take home. Food is a huge issue. So, it was just an absolute miracle. I couldn't raise $2.29, but, the people on our team, our volunteers, are amazing. We just are so encouraged by, just supporting these families and wanting to make a difference, and we are making a difference. So that's about it on the update. I just want to thank you. God bless you all for all the sacrifices that you make for our school district. I don't want to stay for questions, but I'd be happy to stay. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to ask them.
Well, I'd just like to
Answer.
make a comment. This is another perfect example of what I was talking about the community stepping up. You know, what you're doing for these 12 families will probably help them not to fall through the cracks. And so thank you for doing this.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
It's an honor. It's an honor to serve them.
And I want to recognize Darla Haley, who you were talking about,
Yeah,
just
she
showed
just
up.
came
So
in.
if you want to
Yeah.
wave.
Yes, Mr. Flamini.
The mothers that you serve in this program, you know, what I've often thought about in the district here is it's one of the things that we need to do when we have like special things for kids and we're working with them in programs or trying to learn to read and that, the mothers ought to be part of that too.
Absolutely.
Because I would be.
Absolutely. You know, here's the problem. Most of our mothers that I see, first of all, there's no dads involved. There's no fathers at all. So the moms are doing it all. They all have multiple children, just 5, 6, sometimes 7th, 8th grade education. We had a little boy 2 years ago who, when he came, 5 years old, all of his teeth were black, rotten, from top to bottom. And when we started talking to his teacher, she said he'd sit at his desk and pick, and they would just crumble. And never a complaint out of this child. I never once heard him complain. And so I was calling the mom, and I said, listen, we got to do something about this little boy. You're going to be in trouble if we don't, besides the fact that he's going to have some serious health issues. You know, he could have an infection. And she said, Miss Ann, if I take him to the dentist, if I take a day off work, I'll get fired. So, you know, what do you do? So here's what our volunteers did. We partnered with Dr. Rob Burris. I don't know if any of y'all know him, but he's fantastic. His wife was one of our mentors. And he said, you know what? Get every kid over there, take a field trip, get over there. I'll see every one of them as long as they're in the Matthew Project. We still have children from 2 years ago that are seeing him, free of charge. He ended up pulling all of his top teeth, which sounds horrific, but it was life-changing for this child. It took about 7 months, 6 or 7 months, because he had rounds and rounds of antibiotics, and then he could only do 2 at a time. And I mean, he was a mess, but he came in and he said, Miss Ann, my teeth don't hurt anymore. And he's just all gums, and he's the most precious little thing. But this was life-changing for him. Absolutely life-changing. But mom couldn't take off work. I mean, what's she gonna do? So that's where community groups step in, and we have great partnerships with our community members. I would love to help any effort to help our moms, because they deserve it. They're working hard. They are 24/7 in a crisis mode, and they really are doing the best they can. I'll tell you what, one of our moms, I was having a very challenging conversation with her that I had to have. And I looked her in the eyes and I said, you know what? You're a good mom. I can see that you're really trying hard, which was the truth. I don't lie to my moms. And she just started crying and she said, nobody's ever told me that before. And my heart kind of broke. I thought, wow, how can you not be, around somebody in your life that's going to speak something positive and great over your life, that you're going to begin to believe it? That's what we do at the Matthew Project. We are constantly telling these children, we expect greatness, and guess what? They perform when we expect it. And so I would love, let's start something. I would love to do something to help our moms. They deserve it, and the children deserve it. The children of the district deserve it.
You're doing very important work.
Thank you.
It's work, but you don't think it's work.
Thank you so much. Thanks. It's an honor.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you so much.
Okay, we'll now move on to business report 6.1. Mr. Masco.
President Zimmer's members of the board, the district ended the month of June with a cash balance of $38.3 million in the bank for all funds. Interest rates with Illinois funds averaged 0.034% during June. Earned interest for the month was $4,776, and interest earnings year-to-date were $55,547. You also have a schedule of investments. We currently have $8.82 million invested. Also attached is a line of credit schedule. For FY15, we tapped into $16.6 million of our $22 million line of credit, and that line was repaid on June the 19th.
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Basco?
Do we have our fourth categorical yet?
They're trickling in. We have all but one now.
Okay.
And what would that one be?
That one is special education private facility. When or which one? I'm sorry.
Which one is
Which
not,
one?
is still outstanding?
Special education private facility. And we've been getting one every day or so, so I would guess that by this week we should get that last one.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Basco. Now we'll move on to 7.1, Superintendent's Report.
Thank you. Couple things. I'd like to welcome back our balanced calendar schools. Today was the first day to have the teachers back on their staffs at Southern View and Graham. And our administrators, of course, have been on the ground for a few days now. And you all met Alicia Miller, a new hire at Southern View, as principal. So she's out there getting her staff ready to go. And I'll be visiting both schools tomorrow, and I can't wait for that. And just want to remind families that school does begin on Wednesday, the 22nd, if you're in a balanced calendar school. So once again, Graham is an 8:30 school, and so they will dismiss at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. And then Southern View is a 9 o'clock school, and they'll dismiss at 2:30 because it is a Wednesday, and we have our early dismissals on Wednesdays. So the teachers will be having their collaboration time during that hour at the balanced calendar school. So great to have them back on track and be able to visit some schools in action. And just a real big good shout out too for those who are in our regular calendar schools. The first day of school is August 24th, and it's on a Monday morning. So it's a full week of school that week. Parents should remember then Wednesday is an hour early dismissal for our dismissals for early dismissal professional development training during the school year as well. And another shout out, just remember to make sure you're getting your vaccinations and your physicals and get ready for school. We hope that we won't have to use any exclusion dates, but if we were to have to exclude students from school for not having a physical or not having the right shock records, August 5th is our exclusion date for our balanced calendar schools, and September 8th would be that day of exclusion if you don't have all the right materials in place for our regular ed schools. We just want to make sure you're seeing your regular physician and getting those shots, and also remembering that our high school seniors have to have a meningitis vaccination, and make sure that you have our high school seniors, if you have one at home, to check. I checked mine, and because he'd had regular checkups for sports that he's involved in, he was covered, but I want you to make sure that as a parent, if you have a senior, that you make sure you check on that, because that would be hard for a senior to miss school at all. And any student, but especially a senior who's getting ready to graduate and move on to their next steps in life. So that's really important. Also, we've been doing a summer read and beyond. I want to thank NALO for Ms. Mitchell for helping us really take care of all of those things during the summer. We've had great community partners in Calvary Baptist and the Poplar Place to make sure we have a place to meet kids and have kids engaged, and we gave a free book to every student who came. We had 53 adults. We had 57 children come through those programs and help read, so we almost had a one-to-one mentoring and read aloud situation, and all of those kids got free books every time they came. So it was a really great thing for us to do this summer to really help our community and keep reading alive in those neighborhoods. Also a shout out to Sergeant Keene and the Springfield Police Department. They really helped with our high school summer programs, came in and really helped with some continuing education, stressing the importance of responsible driving practices with our students, and we really want to thank them to take their time during the summer to help our summer school program as they do during the school year, so that was a little extra support for them. One of the things that I mentioned to the board this week in my communication to you is that I wanted to tell you about a great program called Simon Success that's been also another collaboration and partnership. We're at the very early stages of it. Mrs. Hyen and principal at Lincoln Magnet and Mrs. Boozer were involved, as well as 7 other of our staff members across our district who helped sit on some small groups to help design these goals that I'm going to share with you tonight. But this is a collaboration between the Community Foundation for the Land of Lincoln, the Chamber of Commerce and the United Way, and they partnered with UIS and the Center for State Policy and Leadership. And once again, this initiative is called Simon Success. There is a community engagement process that outlines 5 key strategies. They're research best practices that keep the education of young people at the highest priority in Sangamon County. It's all student-based. The report suggests that by implementing these practices, that the gap between the less and the more advantaged students in our community could close by 70%. The Strategic Leadership Council of Springfield, also made up of key businesses and organizations, has pledged $50,000 per year to support some of these initiatives for 2 years, and they will be given reports back to the community as well, so that we can, jump in and help. But the 5 primary goals and key action strategies, almost all of them we will be the recipient of as a Springfield Public Schools, which is why I wanted to share with you tonight. The first one is increase the number of less advantaged children participating in and bidding from the most effective early home visiting programs. So our families, our littlest learners that are out there just born in our hospitals, implementing the Nurse Family Partnership for low-income first-time mothers, and also improving the ability of existing local home visiting programs to achieve the best possible outcome for our at-risk. So very similar to what Ms. Libri was talking about, just making sure that we're meeting mothers where they need the help the most from the moment that they give birth and need that assistance. And so that's one of the strategies. The second strategy is increase the number of young, less advantaged children participating in and benefiting from the highest quality preschool and childcare programs. So just making sure we get the word out about the different preschool and opportunities for learning, as well as our early learning center, of course, when they turn 3. Improving the ability of our preschools and childcare providers to use data and evaluation to assess their performance and their needs, and increasing the use of proven preschool math curriculum and math ability, as well as reading. We know that we do a lot of push for reading and getting books in homes, and a lot of activities United Way as the Dolly Parton program, where they're getting books into homes. However, we know that early math literacy skills are just as important as our reading literacy skills. Increasing the number of school-age children participating in and benefiting from mentoring programs. They want to come on board and help us, and they've done a lot of good things across our district, and they want to continue to do that in partnership with us to improve the capacity of our mentoring providers and to use best practices, data, and evaluation to enhance their performance, and also develop and implement strategies to improve the recruitment of our adults in our community for those. The fourth one is increasing the number of low-income and minority teenagers who complete high school ready for college and career and next steps in their lives. And one of the things that we want to make sure we're increasing is our dual credit program. We were able to have a great meeting with Dr. Warren out at Lincoln Land Community College. Cherie, Ms. Morrison, and Mrs. Boozer sat down with me, and we talked with them about some of our additional dual credit programs across all 3 of our high schools and our other programs that serve our students in the district. So we're excited about opportunities. And then also helping our local high schools in collaboration with employers and our community colleges to really get as much career and technical education opportunities as we possibly can across our community. And last, increase educators, child development professionals, and organizations understanding a practical use of the brain executive functioning. So what that means is just helping with the capacity to learn and learning about a series of, they have a series of workshops they'd like to bring to educators in our community, preschool providers in our community members, to really work about brain research and brain learning, and talk about the next steps for that. So those are the things. They are just very preliminary at this point, and those activities are things that were identified as goals. But we hope that we can learn and move forward with them as partners alongside, because all of those things will directly affect our school district in the coming months. So that's just a brief overview. I'll make sure I give you a flyer of all of these things so that you can have them to look at, but that's just kind of an initial overview of our program. Mrs. Boozer, do you have anything else from participating on those committees?
Just the biggest piece was what Mr. Flamini was talking about, getting the parents involved. And that's the biggest piece. It's not one of those, okay, we got this one-shot deal, here's the answer that's going to help, make everything better. But a two-way communication, finding out exactly what our parents need, how we can partner with them, and then connecting them with people in the community, such as the Matthew Project, so they can help our families so that they can be self-sufficient. So it's not, we got the answer for you, here you go. It's not about that. It's how can we support you? What do you need So how can we make this partnership so that you're successful and your children are successful?
Another point of information, at the last board meeting, we talked about how we're going to have 92% proration for GSA, and we estimated that would be about $1.2 million. Other information about that funding formula is starting to come through. One of the things that we were told we'd get extra money for was our early childhood programming, and we do have gotten our award for this year. Based on our award this year from last year, we did receive about an additional $163,000 to put towards our early childhood programming. So we're excited about that, and we're waiting to still hear about our in-need formula, and also they promised some extra money towards special ed, and we just haven't gotten those formulas back. Is there anything else, Mr. Basco?
No, I think that's it. We're still just waiting on information from state board.
Right. Okay. Last but not least, we talked last time at the board meeting about the Economic Development Council, and I told you I'd bring a name for your approval tonight. Just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on where we are with that and what the duties of this person will be. Tonight, I am recommending that Mr. Basco be our representative on that committee. We discussed a little bit last year. We thought it needed to be somebody that knew our community, knew a lot about TIF and how it will affect our district monetarily. Mr. Basco has been with our district since 1986, has been in our business office since that time, has a bachelor's of finance, and is an active member of the Illinois Association for Business Officials. He at any time can meet with us as a board, talk about what he's learning about, to get input from the board or any other member of the community that would like to reach out to us to ask more questions. But he would be our member on that committee. The committee, it would be a 3-year commitment. Right now, they're saying it'd probably be a monthly meeting, and that will be determined by the committee themselves. And the scope and power of duties reads as such from the actual ordinance that I actually sent you by email. The Springfield Economic Development Commission shall work with the Director of Economic Development to evaluate economic development plans, trends, financing and grant money, TIF districts, TIF funds, and the allocation of those TIF funds. The commission shall make recommendations to the City Council when requested by the mayor and/or the Director of the Economic Development Council. And Mayor Langfelder has offered Springfield Public Schools to have one of the 7-member committee and then an additional 3 at large, one of those be a Springfield district person. So at this time, I'd like to recommend him and see if anybody has any comments or any reason that Joe should not be our representative.
Joseph will do a great job. He really will.
This means you can't retire for 3 years, though.
That's right. That's
Okay.
He knows,
most in line.
he knows the number and where the bodies are buried. So, we're okay.
Yeah, good recommendations, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I do. And these tips and how it's going to, well, economic development, it's a broad statement. Okay? When you're talking about TIFs and neighborhoods, and want to make sure, and I know you don't, know about neighborhoods over there where I live at, you know? I won't ask you here, but when is the last time you've been over there? Yeah, come walk in my neighborhood with me. Yeah, those are the kind of things that the economic, years ago I served on the Economic Development Council under some mayor, not some, and you know, the emphasis is not just, I like it, on schools and how much we're going to get out of a TIF, but what are we going to do for the community? Yeah.
It'll be
So-
interesting to see who's nominated to the commission and make sure that we have our voice at the table. And anytime
But you
you
got to
have,
fight for us.
yeah, you'll fight.
I can do that.
And anytime you want, feedback from anybody, I think we could have a small group discussion after you attend meetings and learn about things. We can talk and
I think after the first meeting, we'll check in and
sure. All right.
Do you know how soon that is?
I've not heard anything. I
No,
know-
in fact, really, I had to present until tonight vote. I didn't want to, we've submitted the name because it's got to go to the city council tomorrow night, but we told them it was pending your approval. And so it has not been released to the public, nor have they been able to contact him at this point. So I'm assuming after it goes through the board tomorrow night, but it does, I think it will get going here pretty quick. from what I'm talking to Mayor Langfelder. Really, the last point, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that we're also starting our Feitchen Share Fest this weekend. So Feitchens will undergo an extreme school makeover from July 25th through July 29th, thanks to the generosity of a separate entity called Springfield Share Fest. The main partners in that are Westside Christian, Hope Church, and of course the Springfield Public Schools, because we help and provide a lot of volunteers along the way too. I'll be there on Sunday afternoon this weekend. It will include a network of businesses, organizations, individuals that are kind of spearheaded by the main collaborators of the Springfield Share Fest to come together to help us with some renovations over at Feitchens. Some of the things that I know they're going to do is really help the students over there with some new playground equipment. They're going to do some improvements to the auditorium that can't be covered by our health, life, safety dollars and things that we've been doing. They're going to remodel the teacher's lounge. They've done that in all the schools that have benefited before this, McLernon, Jane Addams, and Harvard Park, and the students always get a lot of stuff out of it, and the teachers get a little out of that too with some of the stuff. And then they're going to have an outdoor classroom and a garden, and then they're going to have some murals painted on the walls too to kind of build camaraderie and school environment and a culture for learning in that school. So that will kick off this weekend, and it's always fun to watch. They estimate about 1,500 volunteers will come through the doors to support Feitchens in the coming days. So I'm excited to be over there helping as well. I'm going to grab my children and make them do some volunteer hours. They were happy to do that, and so we're excited. All right, anything else?
Okay, we'll move on to consent action items, and I'll turn it over to Mrs. Gill.
I recommend the approval of the consent action items 8.2 through 8.6 as described in the corresponding resolution.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, concerns? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Funderburg.
Aye.
Hanley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Yep.
That is 6 aye votes.
Okay, now under roll call action items, 9.1, approval of personnel recommendations.
President Zimmers and members of the board, the superintendent recommends adoption of the personnel recommendations with one change. Page 1, letter B, item 2, position should be CSR, not additional allocation.
Do you have a motion?
So
I'll
moved.
make the motion.
Second?
Sure.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Hanley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
Funderburg.
Aye.
That is 6 aye votes.
Okay, 9.2, approval of Central Illinois Building and Construction Trades Contract.
Mrs. Sherman? Would you like just a little bit of a summary before we proceed with that? And Mr. Shaver, if you feel that you need to jump in, feel free. Yes. A quick summary. This contract is being brought forward. First of all, they went through and the contract's been cleaned up. Typos and language updates. The second piece is there is discipline language added, and the discipline language simply mirrors discipline language we have with other employee groups. There also is an MOU concerning early retirement incentive at this point, just saying that we'll come back to the table if the issue comes up.
That's correct. Another point is this contract hasn't been re-signed since 1997. So just about every player in the group is
It's
different,
different.
including most of you, and most of us. So that was one of the main reasons why they requested the contract be opened again.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Yes. President Zimmers and members of the board, the superintendent recommends approval of the Central Illinois Building and Constructions Trades Contract.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion from the board. Mr. Flamini, second. Mr. Hanlon. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini,
Aye.
Funderburg,
Aye.
Handley.
Aye.
That is 6 aye votes.
Okay, before we close out here, has anybody got anything else?
Yes, let's go back to this economic development thing. I thought we were taking a vote on the appointment. Is that what you said?
We didn't, I guess we didn't follow through on an official vote. It's
Yeah.
not really,
Yeah, it's not really something that requires a board.
it didn't require a
per se.
vote, for just your consent. Do you want to take an official vote?
And what did you tell the city we were gonna do?
They just said agreement of the board, so I just asked for your agreement, and nobody said no, so that's why I took it as your agreement. If you want to take a formal vote, we can do that at this time. It's
I
not a
think we
formal
should.
resolution for board policy or anything of that
We
nature.
don't take a formal.
It's an appointment,
That's
it's a
fine.
board appointment.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to recommend to the Board of Education that we ask Joe Basco to serve as our liaison on the Economic Development Council, and at this time,
I make the motion.
Have a second?
Second.
okay, could you call roll?
Just 1 minute. Lopez,
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini,
Aye.
Funderburg,
Aye.
Handley,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
That is
Thank you.
6 aye votes.
Anybody have anything else? Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Our next regular meeting will be Monday, August the 3rd, here at the boardroom. We start at 5:30 with the exec committee. Everybody have a great rest of the week.
We're still on summer schedule, right?
Correct.
I just want to remind everybody, it is a 6 o'clock start during our summer schedule, so just one more thing. All right, thank you.